Minute past the hour, following some breaking news this morning, and this is a live picture coming out of northwest Albuquerque this morning. A strip mall is on fire near Coors and Sequoia, and you can see smoke billowing from that whole area right now. Firefighters actively on scene. There have been a couple of ladder trucks that have been battling the flames from up above while firefighters are on the ground. So here's the deal. We know that the flames devoured at least a portion of the building there. It appeared to be, in the video that we've seen, a CPA office, but that's not been confirmed. No word on if anybody was inside. No roads are closed off right now. We do have a crew on scene. We're going to continue to bring you updates not only on air but also on social media and on the KRQE News app as we learn more about that. There's the sign of the CPA office that we were noticing a little bit earlier, and you can see part of the building collapsed. Again, as soon as more information comes in on all of this, you will hear it right here on KRQE this morning. Also developing now, an online petition calling for the firing of APS's new superintendent is gaining ground. This after a stunning revelation that a now former deputy superintendent is facing 6 sexual assault on a child charges in Colorado. Luis Valentino hired Jason Martinez to be his right-hand man less than 3 months ago, but Martinez never completed a background check before starting work. Valentino says he was unaware that he hadn't completed that check. An HR head, though, says she raised the issue 6 times in emails. It's policy that anybody working within the district complete a background check. The school board will meet again this week after a closed-door special meeting to discuss personnel matters relating to Valentino. Hundreds of parents waited outside vocalizing their concerns during that meeting.
The public should never have to worry about who is in control of their children, their children's environment, their children's safety.
A Change.org petition calling for Valentino's ousting has about 415 signatures so far. Last night it had near 350. The next school board meeting will be this Thursday at 7 a.m.
We turn out to this happening right now. The state personnel office is investigating why New Mexico government emails were found in the recent hack of the cheating website Ashley Madison. State email addresses as well as addresses linked to domains maintained by the city of Albuquerque, Bernalillo County, Los Alamos National Laboratory, and state courts were on the list revealed by the hackers. A spokesman for the New Mexico Department of Information Technology says an initial review found 4 valid state email addresses. The agency is now working with the state personnel office to determine if any of the individuals on the list violated the state code of conduct.
Developing this morning, 2 officers charged with killing homeless camper James Boyd will have the chance to enter their plea in court this week. Keith Sandy and Dominique Perez will be able to enter a plea at the arraignment scheduled for August 28th. They're facing second-degree murder and lesser charges. A district court judge pushed the case forward earlier this week. If convicted of second-degree murder, they each face up to 16 years in prison.
New documents show the EPA had an advance warning of the toxic water spill that contaminated the Animas River. Listen to this. A contractor told the agency more than a year ago that such a spill could happen. That's according to documents released on Friday. They also show the contractor repeated the warning in May of this year. The spill happened earlier this month when 3 million gallons of wastewater poured out of the abandoned mine. The EPA says the contamination is now back to where it was before the incident, but some experts say toxic metals have only sunk to the riverbed and they can be stirred up once again. We turn on to this. Bathrooms at parking garages in downtown Santa Fe will be locked from now on. That's according to the Santa Fe New Mexican. City officials say there was just too much trash piling up in the facilities. The decision also comes as one of the city's busiest weekends approaches, with the Santa Fe Indian Market coming up. Officials say parking attendants will have a key to let guests in, but they still can refuse service to anyone.
5 minutes past the hour, Mel Gibson is back in the spotlight this morning. Not for a film, though. He's being accused of launching a tirade at an Australian photographer. The woman claims the Oscar Award winner pushed her, spat at her, and was verbally abusive after she photographed him and his girlfriend outside a movie theater in Sydney yesterday. Gibson's spokesman says she was harassing her, and Gibson never touched her. Police are investigating today. Rapper Wiz Khalifa was handcuffed and forced to ground by Customs and Border Protection officers. This happened yesterday at Los Angeles International Airport. Video and images posted by Khalifa himself show the confrontation with agents. He says it happened because he refused to get off his hoverboard. The Customs and Border Protection Agency would not comment specifically on the incident, citing privacy concerns.
We turn on to this. New this morning, doctors say nearly 1 in 5 new cancer cases in America are hitting someone who's already had the disease. A new study found about 19% of cases in the U.S. are second or more. And officials say it's because people are surviving their first bouts with the disease and living long enough to get it again. They say many of the ways doctors fight cancer, such as radiation, can also increase a patient's chance of getting it later in life. So this morning, a Cincinnati woman is facing serious charges, accused of being behind the wheel of this car while driving very erratically, as you can see on the highway there. You can see the woman's car sliding off the road into the median here. Then another driver, a complete stranger whose camera was capturing it all, says she nearly went off a bridge. That's when he springs into action. He actually pulls her over. This is what he says the woman told him.
What's going on?
Goodness, I'm
You fell off the road a few times.
I know.
Yeah, so get this, a man keeps her there until police arrived. She's now facing DUI charges. Police say they think she was high on meth or heroin. The stranger said that his sister cannot walk after being struck by an impaired driver. That's why he did this.
A Florida fifth grader is getting a lot of attention this morning for her bravery after being bitten by a shark.
It was like an instinct.
10-year-old Kaylee Sarmak was catching some waves when she felt a tug on her leg. As she waded out of the water, the pain set in, but something else did too. Worried that her 6-year-old friend wouldn't be able to get out of the water in time, she made a very grown-up decision. Bleeding from a gaping wound, Kaylee went back into the water.
She was much smaller than me, and she was pretty skinny too, so I was like, that shark, if it's still going after her, she's gonna get more hurt than this.
Kaylee is home now. She starts 5th grade this week, and she's already thinking about when she can get back on her board out in the water. And
wow.
Can you imagine thinking about that when you've just been bitten by a shark?
Good
for her.
Good for her.
Grown-up decisions, right?
Very grown-up decisions. I don't think...
To breaking news in this 5:30 half hour, we're taking a live look in northwest Albuquerque. This is near Coors and Sequoia, just north of I-40 in Coors. Here's what we know. Smoke has been pouring from a strip mall there, and it has been for the better part of 2 hours. AFD says the fire broke out about 3:30 this morning. Over the course of the last couple of hours, we've seen flames coming from there. In fact, in the last few minutes, there's still been a bit of orange that firefighters are working on. This video shows exactly what happened here. At least part of the roof collapsed in the middle of the building, and it looks to be a CPA office that was the most affected in this fire. They did manage to contain it there to 2 stores, AFD says, but no word on if anybody was inside. No roads are closed off. We do have a crew on scene right now. We're going to continue to bring you updates as information becomes available. We'll stay on scene, too, throughout the course of the morning. So stay with the KRQE This Morning and KRQE News app for more details. Also new this morning, police in Rio Rancho are looking for the person who they say shot someone near a movie theater late last night. It happened in the parking lot of a discount tire store nearby. Police say they got the call about 10:30 at the intersection of Unser and Southern. One person was shot, but the injury was not life-threatening. The victim was taken to University Hospital. He's recovering. Police say they don't have any suspect information. They say it is early on in the investigation. The victim is not being identified. There's no word on a motive. As I mentioned, we're following the latest in this. 2 new developments on the KRQE News app. We checked, and a man accused of stealing cash from ATMs that he was supposed to be filling is now out of jail this morning. APD says 23-year-old Dimitri Anzurs admitted to the crime. His job at Brinks was to put cash in ATMs, but according to police, he told them that he kept some of the money for himself. Since July 3rd, an audit showed more than $1,300 missing. That money belonged to the First National Bank of Santa Fe. Anzurs has no criminal history. Also happening now, firefighters in California say they're making some progress against a wildfire burning near a ski resort. So far, those flames have scorched about 100 acres south of Big Bear Lake in the San Bernardino Mountains. The wildfire is now 30% contained. Last night, officials put mandatory evacuations in place. The fire broke out Sunday afternoon. Cause still under investigation as we wake up today.
And this morning, fire crews are pleading for help in Washington state. They're asking for volunteers now that more than 500,000 acres scorched across the state. Officials are asking for qualified volunteers, just not professional firefighters, that is, to come and help them. They must have their own heavy equipment and be willing to undergo training. Last week, 3 firefighters were killed while battling the flames in Washington state. Some firefighters in New Mexico are taking a new approach to fighting structure fires. The method comes after years of scientific research.
Which would help crews attack fires more quickly and safer. Right now, Sandoval County is already trained on that new method. As News 13's Catherine Mazzone reports, that technique is already paying off.
Look at this. Look at that.
82-year-old Ophelia Rinaldi surveys the damage.
It was frightening.
Several weeks back, a fire broke out in her Bernalillo home.
You could see the smoke coming out. From there,
firefighters from Sandoval County and the town of Bernalillo were on scene within minutes.
They went over and went directly above where the fire had started.
In the parapet wall right above us here.
It was the first time they would put a new firefighting technique to the test.
They went ahead and they applied water on the fire right away and knocked down the main body of the fire.
It seems a lot more simple.
The new method is described in an acronym, slicers. The biggest difference is the letter C. That's cooling from a safe location.
We want to hit the body of the fire from the outside if possible, cool it down, and then come inside and extinguish the rest of the fire. What that does is it makes it more tenable for the firefighters.
And anyone who may be stuck inside. Sandoval County Fire Chief James Maxson says the new method is one of the biggest advancements he's seen in his 23-year career. He says it's a response to faster spreading fires due to synthetic materials in homes and lightweight construction.
Houses are collapsing. We have firefighters on the fire ground. They get injured because roofs collapse. And, roofs can collapse within 10 minutes.
Rinaldi's packed her bags and found another place to stay for the time being.
now I'm homeless.
But Maxson said had they been using the old method, this could have been a lot worse.
And the fire could have dropped from the ceiling down onto the furniture, and we would have had severe damage. I mean, as it is right now, the furniture that was in this room is all salvageable.
I'm glad the fire department was here and that they had the special technique that they used.
Catherine Mazzone, KRQE News 13.
Now, Maxson says for years, firefighters operated under the belief that if you attack the fire from the burning side of the structure, you could push it into the unburned part. But he says that scientific studies revealed that's just not the case. He says conditions just aren't right for combustion. AFD is among departments that have already adopted that new technique. The man who shot dozens of people in a Colorado movie theater will be formally sentenced this week. James Holmes is facing life in prison without the possibility of parole. It all comes after a jury could not come to a decision about whether to give him the death penalty. Holmes will be hearing emotional testimony from at least 100 victims and witnesses and family members of those who were killed. Holmes was convicted of killing 12 and injuring 70 others during a showing of The Dark Knight Rises in 2012.
This morning, IndyCar driver Justin Wilson is in a coma after he suffered a head injury in that crash you just saw yesterday. Wilson was apparently hit by debris during a race in Pennsylvania right there from another car that had crashed in front of him. That debris caused him to crash right into the wall. He was airlifted to a nearby hospital. No word on if anyone else was injured in this.
On to this, 3 Americans and a British man are being honored in France today after they managed to take down a gunman on board a high-speed train last week. The French president awarded the Legion of Honor medals to U.S. Airman Spencer Stone, National Guardsman Alec Scarlatos, and Anthony Sadler earlier this morning. 4 men subdued the gunman as he moved through the train with an assault rifle strapped to his chest. He was identified as 26-year-old Moroccan Ayoub Al-Kazani, who's being detained and questioned by French counterterrorism police outside Paris. They were in the right place at the right time. Were able to save a lot of people.
That's true.